Hello, my YouTube family. This is the OG Crypto Nuja coming at you with some juicy news. But before I begin, let me say I am not a financial advisor. Anything you see or hear in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. Remember to do your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making investment decisions. Okay, we're going to begin by looking at the total crypto market cap, and it's coming in at $1.24 trillion. And it seems that there is no change today. Bitcoin is coming in number one at 30,552. Ethereum is coming in number two at 1,913. And our beloved XRP is coming in number six at 48 cents. Taking a look at crypto bubbles, looks like a mixture of that compound coming in as a top gainer at 19.7. And FTT looks like the biggest loser, down negative 8.4%. The Fear and Greed Index is coming in greed at number 63. And this has been swirling the internet. Shout out to Michael Branch. He doesn't believe it, neither do I, about an anonymous official from the Securities Exchange Commission has reportedly disclosed that Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, has submitted his resignation following an internal investigation. And this is put out by cryptoalert.com. And moving on here, shout out to Crypto Ari. She gave a heads up on this website earlier where she wrote, I gave a heads up to this account last week. We should be responsible users of social media and not follow, share, spread anything without verifying. And in her previous tweet, she wrote, the Crypto Alert site that published a 10 billion Ripple buyback article was registered June 2023. And they published 7 articles. Twitter link from the site began June, no tweets. The team is stock images used on other sites. So basically, their team are pictures that they took off the internet. So anything that comes from this organization until proven wrong is going to be nothing but lies. These are a bunch of fudsters, or probably some Bitcoin maxis or something like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if that Bitcoin maxi, Max Kaiser, has something to do with this. But either way, it's BS. Anything that comes from this website until proven differently is going to be nothing but FUD and lies. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Cameron Winklevoss. And this is actually quite sad. He writes, today marks 10 years since Tyler and I filed for the first spot Bitcoin ETF. The SEC's refusal to approve these products for a decade has been a complete and utter disaster for U.S. investors and demonstrates how the SEC has failed to register, and here's why. And he goes on to say that, but here's the date. He put in for it July 1st, 2013. You're talking 10 years later, and they still haven't done it. The SEC been sitting on their hands doing nothing. That is a disgrace. Okay, moving on to his brother, Tyler Winklevoss. The SEC and Gary Gensler have a serious credibility problem. And speaking of disgrace, let me play this video.
Over 70% of the crypto market is Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those 4? They're not securities.
How would you categorize Ether then?
I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now to make an assessment under the laws as exist, is Ether a commodity or a security?
So we already know in the U.S. and in many other jurisdictions that 3/4 of the market are not ICOs or not what would be called securities.
Without speaking to anyone.
Is Ether a commodity or security?
In 2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission has said, regardless of what it might have been in 14, it's now sufficiently decentralized that we'll consider it not a security.
It depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of
I'm asking you about the facts and the law, sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge. And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
Over 70%.
Exactly. I mean, the guy's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Gold Telegraph. The International Monetary Fund is creating a global platform for central bank digital currencies, which will allow transactions between digital currencies issued by various national central banks. Many people forget that the IMF owns nearly 175 billion worth of gold. Wow, that's a lot of gold. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Weezy. He put this thing out. Plug and Play, where him and son works, invested 27 million in Nuco, a blockchain infrastructure company. Nuco is also a founding member of the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, along with JP Morgan and Consensus. An angel investor in Nuco is Vitalik Buterin's dad, Dmitry. There's no shocker there. I'm actually expected something like that to come out. Shout out to Weezy for that. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Anders. How to explain XRP to your friends and family. It's like Bitcoin, but a lot faster and cheaper. Keep it simple. And I 100% agree. Thank you for the great advice. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Cypress Dominicor. He writes, once you understand what the elites are building behind the scenes, you will understand why generational wealth transfer is upon us. Be patient. Look at the bigger picture. Do your own research, or do your research. Here he goes.
Real fast, if you hold H bar, you're going to watch this video. Let me show you all how deep the rabbit hole goes. EU digital identity wallet cross-border payment use cases. Pay attention, May 17, 2023. If we head over here to this fundamental PDF from the European Commission, digital identity for all Europeans, April 2023. Scrolling down to the bottom of this fundamental PDF, it suggests that the wallet will be integrated in mobile phones with eSIMs. Interesting, right? Just today, 29th of June, 2023, European Council and EU Parliament strike a deal on framework for EU digital identity, while at the same time, the UN is planning on global ID systems linked to bank accounts. Interesting, right? Well, if we scroll down here, who's heavily involved in this fundamental PDF? The World Economic Forum. Heading over to the WEF website, you guys can see right at the top, March 30th, 2023, how we create an international framework for privacy-preserving digital identities. Who was heavily involved in this fundamental PDF? HEDGE. Interesting. Scrolling down here, we can see gossip for gossip, insights from the World Economic Forum and panel on digital identity. Who was involved? Brett McDonald from HEDGE. Interestingly enough, Brett McDonald is also heavily involved with this PDF from the World Economic Forum that came out in June, talking about reimagining digital identities. Pay attention, this is where it gets interesting. On that fundamental PDF on page 21, it says, nonetheless, a wide variety of efforts are underway to try to address the scaling challenges faced by blockchains. Do you all remember a company called Zane, group that joined the Hedera Governing Council back in 2020? And what did they say about Hedera? Hedera Hashgraph provides next-generation forms of distributed consensus that is faster, fairer, and more secure than traditional blockchains. Remember, again, what did the World Economic Forum just convey? That there is a wide variety of efforts underway to address the scaling challenges faced by blockchains. Who was involved in this fundamental PDF right here? Again, Brett McDonald from Hedera, right? World Economic Forum. Are you all seeing what I'm seeing? So check this out. Zane and Company, right? Group to extend GSMA's Mobile Connect digital identity initiative across the Middle East. If we head over to the Hedera website, Zane and Company is a leading regional digital lifestyle operator. Furthermore, the Hedera Hashgraph patent technology platform addresses the universally important issue of the environment, as its power usage is super efficient, utilizing a fraction of electricity that blockchain platforms use. This is in line with Zane Group's membership of and commitment to, check this out, the Carbon Disclosure Project. CDP, check this out. Head over to the World Economic Forum. You can see right here, Carbon Disclosure Project works with 827 institutional investors with assets of over $100 trillion. Who's involved with them? Zane, right? Who's involved with Zane? Hedera. Are you all seeing what I'm seeing so far? So check this out. If you head over to the CDP website to even further my case, National Australia Bank is a member of the CDP. Okay, well, guess what? This fundamental PDF just came out January 19, 2023. National Australia Bank launches stable coin for carbon credit settlement. Interestingly enough, right down here, it mentions Ethos, right? Check this out. Join the Hedera Governing Council, Hashgraph DLT Network, Ethos, okay? You think that they're not connected to the NAB, National Australia Bank, who's connected to the CDP? Again, hundreds of trillions of dollars. Are you all seeing this? Well, check this out. Ethos Payment Merchant Services. This is from the NAB. We support businesses with Ethos machines, e-commerce, online, and app payment solutions directly from the NAB.com website. Who is directly integrated with Ethos? Hedera. Are you all seeing what I'm seeing right now? This is absolutely insane.
Once again, shout out to Cypress Domenico. He always has some very crazy hidden information. Shout out to him. Moving on. Shout out to Chad Stein Grabber. He puts out the Federal Reserve just updated their website homepage, Fed Now, July 20th, the magic day. And here we have some sort of speed train coming out with Fed Now. Good things are coming, folks. Let's move on. Shout out to Mr. Hubert. He writes, don't worry, Jay Clayton will get his day in court too. And I hope so, because he is just as corrupt as the rest of them. I hope they all get their day in court. Moving on. Mr. Hubert again, he says, that's the problem with anonymous phantoms approved by the SEC Gov. You never know if it's just a glitch or the end of your investment. And this is because supposedly Satoshi Nakamoto became active at 5 o'clock yesterday, July 1st. Was it a glitch or was it really Satoshi? Who knows? We'll never know. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Kaya Rohit. Hopefully I pronounced that right. This is Vitalik Buterin admits that setting up a multi-sig wallet, a crucial component of staking, is fairly difficult. And we played a video.
And I don't know, Vitalik or Denkrat, if either of you want to maybe, again, to make things more precise, based on this entire flow of like, eigenlayer and what people build on top of it, like what are the things that can break through this? What are the specific like attack surfaces that we should be really concerned about, and where we should maybe try and like limit degrees of freedom?
Yeah, so I think I have basically two types of concerns. So one concern is the kind of type of concern that I mentioned in my post about a month ago, right? Like basically where restaking in the sense of just like collateralizing or reusing your collateral for other applications kind of slides into restaking in the sense of like finding ways to sort of sneak other protocols into being enshrined as part of Ethereum in some way. And I think it's good to see that there's a desire from so many people across the spectrum here to try not to do that and to try to limit ways of getting into that. And then the second type of concern, I think, I think it's important to stress that this is like not uniquely Eigenlayer's fault. This is a discussion that stretches way beyond Eigenlayer. Also, gets into Lido. It also gets into like just the limits of the protocol itself, which is like basically the erosion of solo staking and how do we make sure that solo staking continues to be viable and competitive going forward. And that's a place where I think it's very possible to imagine ways in which all of these protocols can be designed in ways that are Solar Staker friendly. I think the biggest challenges tends to come in places where like you're not just relying on staked collateral as like what economists would call a hostage, you're relying on it as a deposit, right? So like a hostage is, if you do something bad, it burns. A deposit is if you do something bad, then it compensates the people who get hurt. And like one example of the deposit would be if you look at something like RAI, right? Like something like a CDP-backed stablecoin. Like for people holding the stablecoin to actually be safe, you need to actually have a deposit, right? It would be nice for that deposit to be staked ETH so that the interest rate from the return rate from holding the RAI doesn't have to like compete with the returns from staking, and instead you can stack the two on top of each other, right? But you would actually need this reliable guarantee that if there is a margin call, like you actually get all of the ETH out instead of like potentially getting some random amount from 0 to 32 of the ETH out, and like most of the time it's 30, but some of the time it could be much less, and it gets weird, right? And so that's like one of those kind of challenge points where I think there's a lot more room for thinking around protocol design, right? But there's but like that's like that's one particular application of restaking that's a little bit more challenging. And like the challenge is basically that it also creates centralization risks, because trustworthy stakers would be valued more by the system than untrustworthy stakers, because trustworthy stakers would be much less likely to actually get slashed. And it creates reputation systems lead to centralization and all of those things. I think it's also important to.
I'm going to stop it there, and I'm going to move on, keep on that same point. Shout out to Chris Black, where he writes, wow, another gem from Ethereum insider Justin Drake. He doesn't stake much ETH because he knows too much about the real risk involved. Why aren't these risks fully disclosed to the ETH end users? Where's the transparency? Let me play the video.
Actually, just personally, I'm staking actually a little bit less than the average. So there you go.
What's the incentive? Why aren't you staking all of your Ether? Like, why haven't you just aped all the way in?
I think part of the reason is that when you make the sausage, you know how it's made. And there's a bunch of tail risk, that is difficult to quantify.
So you know what? That's kind of interesting that the one of the co-founders of ETH and one of the devs on the blockchain, I'm not even too confident with their own product. So that should tell you a lot right there. When you see people that are involved with Ripples and their XRPL, none of these individuals have any problems, and they haven't had one single issue. So it kind of tells you that Bitcoin, Ethereum, any one of them, they're just not the one. And XRP in their ledger is the one and only that has been 100% without any issues. And that's why they're going to do well on the next bull run. And here we go. Shout out to Michael Arrington. He put out a tweet yesterday with a picture of himself and with Big Bad Brad Garlinghouse himself. And I wonder if this had anything to do with this, where shout out to Patrick Riley. He put out this tweet that Arrington recently filed with the SEC for an XRP-based hedge fund. Seems there's an expectation for all to go well. And this is what he's talking about. Arrington Capital is a thesis-driven firm investing in digital assets and Web3. Arrington XRP Capital is a multi-strategy hedge fund specializing in early-stage venture and the public markets. So hopefully that's a very bullish sign of things to come. Okay, fam, that's going to do it for today's video. If you found this video to be helpful, would you please smash the like and subscribe? I would really appreciate it, and it doesn't cost you anything. Thank you much in advance. And in the words of Snoop Dogg, keep your mind on your money and your money on your mind. Peace out, fam.